And after those cinematic shots, I'll hand it over now to the MD and CEO of TV9 Network, Mr. Barundas.
Thank you, Karthik. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcome to you all. Thank you, Anna. Thank you for being with us this evening.
Thank you for having me, and a good evening to all of you out here. Wonderful to be here. Thank you. I think that was for the first person who said, woo! So it followed after that, so whoever it was, thank you. Thank you. Love you too.
Right. On behalf of this lovely audience, TV9 Network, I start by saying in my bongish Hindi, "Hum tumhe bhool jayenge, ye to ho nahi sakta." At the end of the discussion, I would try and make sure that I will not let it happen that you forget us, the TV9 Network and the audience present here in Dubai.
You know, actually, विनीत के डायलॉग के बाद मैं थोड़ा डर ही गया हूँ डायलॉग मारने भी. इतनी लंबी लाइनें कैसे याद रखते हो यार आप? और इतनी खूबसूरती से मुझे लगा कि एक्टिंग चालू है, फिल्म ही चालू है. But awesome.
Maybe he has scripted that too. The way he says,
yeah,
that I thought that he scripted it.
Yeah, and I got nervous because of that, Dada. Before I came in, I got nervous. I said, इनकी हिंदी और डायलॉग सुन के मैं क्या बोलूँगा?
कोई बात नहीं, आपको कुछ बोलने की जरूरत भी नहीं है. आप तो बोल चुके हो काफी सारे चीज. So, Anna, cinematic mindset of an investor. Is there any similarity? The way you selected a script and the way you decide to invest in a startup.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's all about reading. It's all about reading the script, reading the character, reading the attitude, reading the approach, reading the mindset. It's the same thing with when it comes to startups. You know, my team, I have a very strong team. I'm not an MBA or CPA. It happened by chance. You know, कहते हैं ना कि ठोकरे खा के हम business सीखे. तो मेरे साथ ऐसे ही हुआ. But my team definitely reads the P&L. You know, it reads the product itself. It reads that Excel sheet to understand. But I probably, being an actor, read the attitude, the body language, the approach, the nature of the individual. You know, being an actor, you grasp characters, and that's what I watch, learn, understand, and believe ki there's got to be a difference between like and love. You know, when you like something, you see a rose, you pluck it. But when you love something, you nurture it, you start watering it. So I look for that in an entrepreneur, in a youngster. It could be anybody, it could be any business. I don't even know whether it's going to work tomorrow because I don't look for unicorns. You know, I look to see whether he is the kind of founder who'll take me forward with him.
So the two things that I can hear from you, A, you still apply your right side of your brain while you choose to invest in a company, and you go by the person that you're investing in. Concept is definitely.
Absolutely.
Right, and that's how you chose your scripts too?
Yeah, very much. The producer matters, the director matters, the script matters. A director matters because if it's a great script, then a director, he's the one who's got to bring it onto celluloid. And when he brings it on celluloid, he creates that magic. After the product is done, it's a producer who takes it to the market. You know, I just did a film probably 3 weeks ago, which according to me was a brilliant film. Got great numbers when it came to the OTT and the digital platform, but didn't do well at the box office at all. That's because it was distributed very, very badly. He was a first-time producer. Didn't know how to exploit the film. So sometimes when you don't exploit a film properly is when you lose. So it's very important that you understand all those aspects.
Do you really have found out a formula by which one can predict whether a script or a film could be a blockbuster or a hit? I think a lot of it happens by chance. Like, for instance, if I say, that's a very favorite example of mine, a small dialogue in Sholay, Kitne Aadmi The. Now, 25 years later, 30 years later, we had a complete film based on that theme, that one line, Atiti Kab Jaoge, I think Ajay Devgan's movie. So is it a formula which can be applied? You know, when you invest in startup, mundane people like us, or when we take a business decision, there are certain parameters that we take into consideration. And more or less it works with a kind of science in it. But when a blockbuster film or the making of a blockbuster film, is there any science in it?
I don't think so. Of course, there's a science to it, but at the same time today, I don't think so, because or else people wouldn't be relying on sequels. You know one thing from a formula perspective, I know Hera Fairy 3 is going to work. Not because of me, it's because of the franchise, it's because of the combination of the three actors who are there, the three characters. When you said Sholay, the minute you remember the name of a character and not necessarily the actor of a film, you know it's a successful franchise. So I know Hera Fairy is a success. I know the Welcome to the Jungle is a success. But I don't know whether my next script is going to be a success, because it depends on a whole lot of factors. Today it depends on too many things. So everybody is playing it safe. Everybody is going with the banner and not necessarily the script. And that's why great scripts sometimes get brushed under the carpet. But if it is a Yash Raj film, an actor will do it. If it's a Karan Johar film, an actor will do it. If it's a Sanjay Leela Bhansali, an actor will do it. Which means it's like, in the advertising world, it's like endorsing a brand that is already successful and saying, I'm a part of the success. So you're a part of a successful team. I think that's what the formula is today. Take it easy. Is Amazon got it? Has Netflix got it? Has Jio got it? Has Z got it? Who's taken the rights? So I think that determines success. And again, debatable, but even the market is determining whether your film is a success or a failure, because sometimes a film has failed, but the box office numbers show differently. So it's better to invest, put in your own money, make sure your stock prices rises. So there's a lot of things going on right now.
So is that one of the reasons that you said that people are not really going by the script? People are not really focusing on the concept. They're seeing what are the brands associated with this project, what's the banner, who are the star cast. So having seen that, having experienced that, do you see that currently Bollywood is on the rise, on the decline? Do you find everything is fine in Bollywood, or there are some things which are ailing Bollywood?
The other way is shaky right now. We don't know where we are. Every industry that brings films out today says they are bigger than Bollywood. I honestly believe that Hindi cinema will always be the BAP of cinema, because it's a language that is spoken across the country. Great films are being made across the country. So today, that's why I'd say Indian films, rather than, because we're competing with the world. And the problem here is Excel sheets are telling you what kind of scripts to make.
Yeah, I understand.
So if writers and creative people are not telling you what scripts to make, and Excel sheets are telling you what scripts to make, I think we are in times that are not very, very good.
Looks like, yes. So is film also slowly but steadily turning into an asset? Like you invest in various assets while you are an investor. Could film be an investment too?
Absolutely. I think the biggest have survived only because of the IPs that they hold and the balance that they have. I mean, today, if you talk about a Yash Raj, it's the kind of films that they have. It's the studio that they've built that talks about valuation and numbers, and that's what everybody looks at. So you have a good bank of films with you. Those IPs make a big difference because of the various mediums that are available to exploit those cinemas.
So it looks like that you have put your bucks on startups more than the films, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean... see, to be honest, if Sunil Shetty would have sold like he did 5 years ago, I'd probably back myself with cinema too. But he doesn't sell like he does. There's a lot of love, but tickets don't sell. So I'm not somebody who'd back something that is not working. But At the same time, I know the world of startups is easier because there are so many opportunities for us. And being an actor, you behave right, you're a good soul, you're an honest individual, you're a passport to anybody's heart. And that's how the investors or the startups also look at it. They look at you as someone who could be a mentor. They come to me, and it's never just about investment. It's always about, will you mentor us? Will you help us? Will you help us with marketing? Is there an investment opportunity? If you're not interested in it, will someone from your group help invest? And that's the only thing that I look at and believe that, yeah, okay, we can make a difference. But very clearly, of course, wanting to be a part of something that I know I see growth. See, my father came from the old school. We believed that if you take care of Lakshmi, Lakshmi takes care of you. So for me, it's a positive that is very, very important. I don't believe in cash burn. Because at the end of the day, 2 years down the line, you've burnt your cash and you realize, kya ye dhanda karne ke layak hai ki nahi? So it's not worth spending so much money to understand a business, whether it's going to work or not.
Yeah, you mentioned a few attributes which can be ascribed to you very easily. One of them is good soul. You know, when you invest in startup, typically the scenario is that some brilliant mind comes up with some idea where there's an opportunity in the market and then they build on that. But as in films, is it always that your gain would come at somebody's loss? It's more or less like a zero-sum game. What I've learned, whatever little I know about the film industry, that people who are at the top often also had to ensure that they remain at the top. And at times, they had not allowed some other people to rise. So, being good soul is a disadvantage in being in film industry?
It's not, I wouldn't say that. I'd say that is there in every business. You know, you want to be the most successful. You want your stock right up there, and you would do anything sometimes to stay there. But the thing is, today it's about a proposal. It's a math. You know, if I take X, then it'll sell. If I take a Sunil Shetty, it might not sell. My digital will sell, my satellite will sell, so I'm safe. So it's a very safe game that is being played. And the deals are struck before, even before anything happens. Somebody's got great connect, so it's happening. Because somebody believes that X can deliver a good film. Not necessarily a great subject or a good director will do. So things have changed a lot. It's become very business-like. पहले के ज़माने में makers रहते थे. आज डायरेक्टर्स है. मेकर फिल्में बनाते थे. जब आप सुभाष घाई की बात करते, he was a maker. He knew what he was doing, right from the background to the impact. और राज कपूर जी, तो ये फर्क में है ना, हम कहीं ना कहीं खो चुके हैं. We'll find our way. We'll definitely find our way.
Are you focusing on investing in films as much as you're investing in startups?
Yes, now I am. I have a son who's pursuing the career. He's doing a second film, Border, right now, and I see a lot of potential in him. And that's someone whom I'm going to back and going to make films, not just with him, with a whole lot of kids that I believe in. Content that is probably price right, you know, more than anything else. Once you're priced right, you can deliver because there's an OTT market. There's an Amir Khan today who's releasing it directly on YouTube. You know, so there are different mediums and they will keep coming.
Yeah, advent of OTT. Obviously, a lot of stars that I've seen, they've taken a temporary break, are making a comeback on the OTT screen. Dharavi Bang would be your OTT debut?
No, I think Dharavi Bank was, and season 2 is coming out. I finished Hunter 1 and I'm doing Hunter 2 is finished now, and they want to do the third sequel also. But for me, cinema is something that is very, very important. You need to be in the theater to be able to make a massive impact. I'm not taking away anything from the OTT platforms or the digital platforms. They're giving you talent that is unbelievable. I mean, if you see performances being enhanced, it's actors like Vineet and the others who are there who are killing it and giving us a run for our money. Nervous ho jata hu main.
It democratized films, possibly OTT. There are more options now for them. You know, they don't have to wait for a theatrical release, and you know, the intermediaries are to some extent cut off. once you are talking about OTT. So the audience decides whether a film is worthwhile or not. Well, Anna, you have been, you actually have personified discipline. You've been very disciplined. So do you think that you apply discipline as much in your investment decisions as you did in your personal life? Is discipline at the core of everything?
Absolutely. I think consistency, discipline, is very, very important in anything that we do. I mean, even if you see the world of fitness, that's something that I'm very, very passionate about. It's not just discipline, it's also the consistency of doing something every single day. 6 days a week, मुझे 5:30 बजे उठना है, ये करना है, उसके बाद ये, फिर वापस घर आना है. So to be successful at what I do, successful in the sense happy at what I do. I may not be half as successful as a whole lot of my other colleagues, but I'm happy, and that's the zone that I love being in. For that, it's very, very important that, even the startups follow a certain kind of discipline. Like I said, there's no cash burn for me. The product is as important. The management team is very, very important. Otherwise it's great investors, great ideas, but management is missing at times. कि हम कर लेंगे, हम सब नहीं कर सकते. So not a fluffy management or a puffy one where they have big spends, big names, but somebody who knows to manage it right. Very important.
Again, as for the management is concerned, that's the most important thing. As you rightly said, the people build business. So people are very, very important. Now, Anna, action hero to business strategist. Obviously, there were many roles in between. One of the fabulous roles that you played is Hera Feri, Kansham. So the whole transition that you had made and come to being a business strategist, which is possibly your primary identity now that you are an investor. How did that transition happen? You must be one of the first ones in film industry who had taken investment in startup in a very systematic way. I think there are more following that footstep. Internationally also, Robin Gosling is possibly one who's very active there. But how did this thought come to you? How did you go about making this transition?
I think for me, life came a full circle. First was business with Dad, then my own startup that I'd called Mischief, which was fashion, which was extremely popular brand. Then came cinema. Dad said, one life to live. Give it your shot. Give it your best shot. Treat your work like your own child. It'll give you back. I did that. Then came a low phase in my life. Then came Dad, who was unwell. I decided, instead of taking up crap, let's just say quits to it and spend time with him. Spent a good 4 or 5 years with him. That's when I got into understanding what other people were doing. Then came the pandemic, and then came the journey of startups and young entrepreneurs from home. And that opportunity when I said, you know what? जब हम फिल्में करते थे और पैसे invest करते थे, and used to run the business on your own, it didn't work because I didn't give my time to it. I didn't love it like I should, because that's what business also grows on. But then I saw young founders who were doing great stuff, and I said, let's back them. I saw success in some of my earlier ventures. It could be 5%, 10%, 15%, that doesn't matter. But I saw a plus in my balance sheet, and that's when I said, you know what? अच्छे लोगों के साथ चलो. तब पहले opportunities नहीं थी. अब opportunities है तो अच्छे लोगों के साथ चलो तो फायदा कहीं ना कहीं होगा ही.
Your celebrity status, is it an asset or liability for you?
It's an absolute asset. If you know that you want to do things right in your life. If there's a shortcut that you're taking, अगर मैं कुछ गलत कर रहा हूँ, then I'll have a fear in my mind. I won't be able to have that large heart and say, yes, I'm doing that business. But because I'm doing it right, I believe it's an asset because it reaches the people. You get the eyeballs. Of course, after that, it's the product that matters and the founders and the service that matters. So it does give you an opportunity. And having friends who are very keen that, Arey yaar, aap agar invest kar rahe ho, to let us also invest. So that gives me, the risk is shared with a whole lot of people. At the same time, you can help the kids grow.
That's right. And there's another thing common in your investment decisions, which I often see. Health and wellness, brands that you invest in and you yourself. Health and wellness is very critical for you, right?
Absolutely, because that's what's given me the action hero tag. That's what's kept me alive even today. Even when I do action today, the boys believe that I don't need a body double. And they come up and say, sir, आप तो कर लोगे. I said, यार तब 24 का था, अब 64 का हूँ, मुश्किल हो जाता है.
64 का हो?
Yeah, I complete 64 this year. So
it's not on those days, right, to get admission in a class that your age was increased by your dad. Not those days, right?
Yeah.
Well, now, when you talk about wellness, one thing comes to my mind that you were a very, very avid cricketer and you put fielding as a core. Absolutely. You thought that a good fielder can be a good batsman or a good bowler.
Absolutely, and I think the proof. I mean, I couldn't be a cricketer, so one can't tell how good a cricketer I was. I was good then at a national level. You need the heart, to be able to go there and play there. But I think the living and live example is Virat Kohli. From being a fit boy to being a super fit human to having continued to play at the age of 35 and 36. I think it's the biggest loss to Test cricket that Virat's not playing, because I believe he's at his peak when it comes to fitness, and he should have been a part of it. So it's a living example of being a great fielder. Because he's very fit, he's a great fielder, and because he's a great fielder, when you save a few runs for your team, it adds to your bank balance when you come into bat.
John T. Rose showed that. He added 20, 30 runs.
Absolutely, that's the man.
That brings me to Kale. Fantastic cricketer. He's that breed of cricketer from Karnataka, the cricketers who came, Rahul Dravid, Venkatesh Prasad. They're all gentlemen. They played more, talked less. But Rahul's fielding, did you take it up with him?
Rahul is brilliant, but when you talk about your own child, it's better you keep quiet and let the world do the talking, and let his bat do the talking. He's someone who's obsessed with his sport. He believes as long as he's playing for the country, he wants to give it his all. And like all of us, he believes that country above everything else. And for him, if we discuss, we talk about numbers and aren't you uncomfortable at this number? All he says is, Dad, I want to play for the country. As long as I'm wearing the flag on my chest, it doesn't matter for me. I want to play for the country. So, what more can you ask from a child who says, my obsession, my country? And I think somewhere down the line, that's the way I am. For me, my India has always been numero uno. Proudly Indian is the tag that I've always carried, even when I did mischief in the early 80s, or even before, probably. My tag didn't say made in India, it says proudly Indian. And that's the way I think even today.
My favorite cricketer too, one of my most favorite, all-time favorite cricketers is Rahul. You said that wearing Indianness on your sleeves. Cricket, while India plays very well, but unfortunately it's not in that sense, it's not a global game. Not many countries in the world play cricket. And India is particularly not doing that well in the arena of sports. In most of the games, if you save out maybe badminton, where Gopi Chand has really revolutionized badminton in India, and then chess. But one of the lowest hanging levers that India has, which I have always thought, and I've been speaking about it, is the soft power. India still can achieve much faster our ascendancy in the global head table. That ascendancy or that quest can be helped if our soft power can be leveraged. Like Indian cinema can become global cinema. I don't think that's happening. I mean, we've seen what happened to another Asian country, Korean films, Korean drama. They've taken the world by storm. So India still has that one lever that it can leverage. So do you think that it's a realistic dream to see that one day Indian content will go global?
Oh, without a doubt. See, we also have to consider the kind of budgets we make our films in. if you compare it to the world budgets and the distribution network that English cinema has, it's phenomenal. So even if we can get close to that and consider India cinema as global cinema, then there are so many languages. There are 12 or 13, 14 languages that cinema is made in. I mean, you see Bengali films. Not today, even earlier. Pure content was there. You see Malayalam films. Today they are seeing commercial success. But even if you take cinema 30 years ago, that content worked. You know, when Doordarshan was available, I don't know whether half the kids even knew what were born when Doordarshan came in. But I saw cinema there. I saw regional cinema there and enjoyed it so much. I used to die to see that on weekends. You know, but right now, if we improve our distribution system and cinema going is encouraged a lot more, I don't see any reason why not. But at the same time, I also believe that soft power can be used for anything and everything. Korean music grew, Korean cinema grew, Korean fashion grew, Korean products grew. Everything about Korea is selling. It's the flavor of the year. So I'm sure it's happening with India. Whether it's yoga, whether it's Ayurveda, whether it's our health, whether it's our culture, whether it's our shloks, everything is coming back. We're proud of who we are, and I don't see this not happening. As long as we make sure that our content is something that is novel to them. You get a Mahabharata, you get a Ramayana, you get the other scripts out, the way internationally these films are being made, and I don't see any reason why we can't.
Yeah, we need to, I think, people watch Korean drama not because they are in Korean language. They watch it because they love watching it. The drama happens to be in Korean language. So I think there's something that we can leverage for our country. Anna, you paid a lot of dividend to relationship, always. As you said, that you judge the people. Some of your employees are there with you for 30, 40 years, and they still stick around. What is this, your connect with Akshay Kumar, besides the fact that Ajay Devgan calls both of you the milkmen of the industry?
Calls us doodhwalas, for your information, because we're up by 5:30, 5 in the morning. So he says, Bombay mein sirf Akshay Kumar, Sunil Shetty aur doodh wale bahar nikalte. It's a great relationship. It's a great working relationship. It's a great partnership. We've been doing films together for over 30 years and done 18 to 20 films, and 80%, 90% have been successful. The rest have been averages, never a flop. So I think sometimes combinations work, and that's the combination that's worked. We respect each other. We give each other space. And though we've had our little powwows, from a media perspective, but otherwise it's magical on stage. And to add to that, Paresh Rawal, when someone like he comes in, the magic of working with a good actor, you can see with someone like me on screen also. When you have a great actor with you, things change.
Could you relate to any director the same way?
Come again?
Did you relate to any director in the same way?
Yeah, very much. JP Datta. Priyadarshan, Dharmesh Darshan. People who taught me what acting was all about. They always said was, work from here, baki sab ho jayega. Because my Hindi was never very good. Being a South Indian, I spoke Tulu at home. Though I was in Mumbai, I had cleaner Marathi than I had Hindi. But I learnt it along the way, and I'm okay now when lines are given to me.
Coming back to fitness again, MMA, you've been a great proponent and practitioner of MMA. And if I have read it right somewhere, that Vivian Richards has got something to do with it, that you're moving into.
No, I think I got into the Okinawa Goju-Ryu style of martial arts, which is the most traditional martial art that exists. But it was because when I met Sir Vivian Richards one day and I saw his forearm, and he came and I went to shake hands with him, and when I went to shake hands with him, I felt I put my hands into a cricket field, because his hands were so large. And I said, sir, the forearms, your body, how come there's this myth that says if you have a big body, you're not flexible and you're not quick enough to be an athlete? He says, no, son, it's to hit harder. And he has the typical style of chewing gum and flicking it over anywhere he wants for a six at will. So that stuck with me. But I was really young and I couldn't go to the gym. They said, 18 के नीचे gym जाओगे तो ठिंगू रह जाओगे, बड़े नहीं होंगे, ये नहीं होगा, वो नहीं होगा. तो मैं भूल गया. I said, how do I make up for that? And I was also a big Bruce Lee fan. And that's when I joined martial arts. And, my journey with martial arts, then kickboxing, and then towards MMA. It was a natural transition. But what didn't work for my cricket worked for my movies. I got the tag of an action hero. My first film released and they said he's wooden, lakda hai, wo acting nahi aati, uske Udupi restaurant mein jaake kaam karna chahiye. But it was my action that kept Sunil Shetty and gave him the tag of an action hero.
What would be your advice to today's Shetty coming from Karnataka or Mangalore, coming to the Bollywood? So you have any learning that you want to pass on to them?
Absolutely. Don't come in like Sunil Shetty did, without learning acting. Master your craft. Remember that a Friday is a very, very tough period. Filमें मिलना बहुत आसान है. जब फिल्में नहीं चलती तो बहुत खराब लगता है. When you're walking by and somebody says, ये है. And he says, last week उसकी picture आई थी, flop हुई थी ना? Flop actor. It hurts. So master your craft. Be prepared to move on in life if it doesn't work for you, or to struggle, to fight and make sure that, you find yourself a niche in that space. It's a beautiful space. It's a beautiful space. So be patient. But once again, master your craft. Understand, learn the language. Wherever you are, whichever state you are in, I don't believe that, वही भाषा बोलनी चाहिए और जाननी चाहिए. लेकिन अगर आप वहाँ, वो आपकी कर्म भूमि है, तो वो भाषा आपको जानना बहुत 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 ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि लोग आपको बहुत ही खुले आम से एक्सेप्ट करते हैं.
Almost the same advice that you give to the startup fellows who you invest in, right? Not much difference.
Absolutely. It's the same, actually.
It's the same.
The thing is, because I come from that background of, having worked my way through everything. So I keep telling everybody, look at everything that you do with love and not with like. Don't go and pluck that flower. Water that bloody plant so that it grows and gives you a lot more.
Right. And now, what would you expect that 20 years down the line, people would remember Anna as?
As a good human being. My first interview with Stardust always said that, कि जब निकलूंगा तो धर्म जी जैसे निकलना चाहूंगा, जहाँ लोग बोले कि बहुत अच्छा इंसान था. That you leave a nice warm feeling in people's heart. That's all. That he tried his best and survived. It's been it's been over 35 years for me, and that's a long time.
Right. It's a personal dilemma that I have. I want to bounce it off with you. Do you think there's a blurring line between being nice and being stupid?
Yes. And that's what got Sunil Shetty his downfall. I was nice. I believed in people. And that's the problem. You've got to stop believing. You've got to start searching. You've got to understand. You have to look. Once you've understood everything, start believing. Because otherwise, belief is a curse, is a poison. And that's the nice part of it that is difficult. I went with good people. I went with good people also. But not well equipped to create that magic. And I lost out. And I failed. But it didn't matter to me, But that's definitely the learning.
Well, I don't think that you failed. I don't think anybody present here feels that you failed. I don't think the millions of viewers who are watching TV9 network channels in India feel that you have failed.
No, Dada, I'm talking about from a career perspective. You see failure, you see a lot of your co-actors, friends who are still so successful today, having done everything the right way. I'm not jealous. It's like an Akshay Kumar or Ajay Devgan. They inspire me to do better. Every film of theirs that works, I feel, nahi yaar, mehnat karo, sahi subject dhoondho, things will fall into place. And that's my only dream. The only dream is a Sunil Shetty starrer, successful at the box office, and I say goodbye. I'm done with it and had great innings. That's about it. So failure from that point of love, I'm extremely happy with what I do. I'm someone who honestly believes I am who I am, but my attitude depends on who you are. You treat me right, I treat you right. Failure doesn't matter to me. That way failure doesn't matter. When I walk into a room, it is me and it's my aura and my goodwill that has to work and not anything. Not my last Friday that worked or didn't work.
Right, Anna. Good human being, humility, graciousness. I think you personify all these qualities. We've seen you from far. Today I have the rare privilege to talk to you, and I feel really privileged. And I always believe that what goes around comes around. And I believe that you've been a fantastic human being. You've lived your life like that. And you've accrued a lot of goodwills from this universe. And all of them will be paid back to you for the rest of your life and the loved ones that you have, especially your granddaughter. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that's the icing. The granddaughter is the icing on the cake always.
Right. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think the time is right to indulge in a few questions also with Anna, if I can borrow that phrase. I think he'll be happy to answer some questions.
Yes.
And can we have a great
yeah.
round of applause for the humility that,
yes, Anna.
that
I
this
think
man here
a lot of people would like to ask a lot of questions.
has not just spoken about, but has displayed as part of his culture, as part of his experience, as part of his upbringing. I think that's there for all of us to see. I think it really makes us all take a step back and realize that that greatness comes with humility, and we have an example
so
of
questions
that right here.
I need name and everything about you. I need to know everything about you.
So, my name is Pankaj Radhananna. He's like an elder brother to me. For 20 years he's trying very hard for me to lose weight, but I promise you after this interview, next 1 year, you will see me a better, fitter person. But I have a very simple question for you, Anna. You have been great at films. I know you are great at sports, startup. You have been great at building some fantastic real estate. You have built into F&B business. You are into fashion business. You are a social entrepreneur. I know you have done a lot socially, which I think we missed out Barun this time because there's another side to him on his social entrepreneurship. He helps a lot of people. What gives you the most satisfaction?
Honestly, because of the humble background my father comes from and what my mother-in-law has taught me, there's a line that is very close to my heart always, and that is, from what you get, you make a living, but from what you give, you make a life. So I think that joy of giving and making a difference in someone's life is what the high is. I also look at it even from a startup perspective, I look at it that way. I say, good kid. That's why I say, I read people. I read their minds, I read their behavior, I read all that and then invest in people. Loss हुआ तो loss हुआ, लेकिन अच्छा हुआ तो बहुत अच्छा हो जाता है. And I think good people bring about that vibe in me. So I think it's that. A lot of times I've lost in life even earlier, but my mother always tells anybody who says, yeah, somebody will say, why does he do this? He's going to lose. He's not going to get it back. And she says, you know what? He was made for that. Let it be. So I think that I picked up probably from dad and from my mother and my late mother-in-law. For me, she was God to me. She's my godmother. And from up there also, she sees and blesses. And I've seen that in life.
Thank you, Anna. And my name is
There's one more gentleman there. Can we have the mic onto him? In fact, Anna, we also have the pleasure of the ambassador of India to UAE, Mr. Sanjay Sudhir, who's here in audience. So thank you so much for coming back. And it was lovely hearing you this morning and great to have you back with us. The lady there, if you could please introduce yourself, ma'am, and ask your question.
Yeah. Hi, Sunil.
Hi.
It's so fascinating to see you in person. I'm really influenced and motivated by your lifestyle and your discipline, that you're an early riser. I try to, and it actually works. So my question to you is that you have done so well in life, and obviously you have great values. And I just wanted to ask that, because there's so much talk about spirituality, how it connects and leads you to the correct path, because the industry which you are in, it's a very glamorous and it's a very, materialistic, and you do get influenced by wealth. And how do you get grounded? How is it that, it's taking you?
See, I think, first of all, let's not separate the industry from what the virtual world is today. The virtual world is also an industry today. We are living in a world that's virtual. I was telling Pankaj and all that right now, कि जिंदगी में खुश रहना बहुत आसान है. आप दाल चावल खाओ, खाने में आप खुश हो. लेकिन जिंदगी में अपने आप को खुश दिखाना बहुत मुश्किल है. उसके लिए 5 डिश चाहिए. उसके लिए एक टेबल सजा हुआ होना चाहिए. डिश के कलर परफेक्ट होने चाहिए. उसका फोटो सही होना चाहिए. उसकी टैगलाइन बहुत अच्छी होनी चाहिए. अपलोड होना चाहिए. लाइक्स भी आने चाहिए. तो आप खाने के लिए जाओ तो बोलेंगे नहीं, एक बार मैं अपलोड कर लूं. और फिर जब खाने में जाओ तो खाना ठंडा है. लेकिन लोगों ने एक्सेप्ट कर लिया कि ये हमारी जिंदगी है. तो ये फिल्मों में ही नहीं है, ये वर्चुअल वर्ल्ड में और आगे. हम ज्यादा कॉन्शियस है. We are very conscious. We are aware that the TV9 is watching us, and if we make any mess up, we'll be out there in the public and we'll be responsible. So the world is that way. So for us to connect spiritually is very, very important. For me, I connect spiritually by going back to my hometown. I come from a small town called Mulki, where Durga Ma's temple is the most powerful temple, and we live in the same area. I've got the house of spirits. If you've seen Kantara, the house of spirits in our very own home. We pray to the Nag Puja. So we do that regularly. And I go to my hometown at least 5-10 times a year. If you call me 25 times, I'll go 25 times. So that keeps me grounded. So when we go for our pujas, we've got a home that is ancestral home that has around 3 bedrooms. And when we go for our pujas, around 45-50 of us go. All of us stay home. All the brothers line up with gaddas lined up, and we all sleeping on the gaddas. That is spirituality to me. That is grounding. That is me spending time with my people. And like I said, Durga Ma's temple was built by a Muslim family. So so when you talk about unity and diversity, when you talk about religion and culture, that's the background we come from. That's how I've seen it. Even today, when Durga Ma comes out first, she first goes to their home. They do the pujas. From there she proceeds, she goes for a bath, she's bathed by every community that is there. Christians, the fisher folks, Hindus, Muslims, all go together taking Mazrat. She's bathed, she comes back, she comes to our home where her final and only puja is done, then she goes back home. So that is the connect. And you get the vibe, you get the vibe.
Before we get another question, just an observation, and I'd like Mr. Barundas also to weigh in on this, Mr. Shetty. Something that you said really is so relevant, that the taste of a dish today is as pretty as it looks. And I think Mr. Das will agree with me. There's something that we discuss in our boardroom meetings quite often, that this fascination with a device called a cell phone and the endless, mindless scrolling on social media is something which is perhaps leading to the grey cells being degenerated. So I'll let you answer, but I'd really love to hear what we hear very often, in fact, from Mr. Das in our boardrooms. And maybe let's hear him, and we'd love to have your reaction as well.
So this is my own hypothesis. I think, I say that when you hear, there are 3 aspects of hearing. You hear from your ear, you hear from your eyes, and you hear from your mind. So what happens with the cell phone, that most of the times we're talking, our eyes and mind are somewhere else, so we are not focused in our conversation. So whatever we say, whatever we hear, we forget everything. And then the other thing, what goes wrong, is the distraction. When I asked for some figure, I said that, get me this figure. So immediately they go onto the laptop or go onto the phone. The moment they go onto the phone screen, there are millions of messages, millions of social media. So where's the mind is wandering? So therefore, I think this device is actually accelerating the waning of a mind, cognitive mind. So That's what is my take, Karthik. So I keep saying that don't come to the boardroom meetings with your cell phone.
No, and that's why
Let's hear
that's why it's
Mr.
called.
Shetty.
That's why it's called a cell phone.
Yeah.
You're in a cell. You're in prison. You know, it's not a phone. It's a cell phone. कि इनको जकड़ के रखो और इनको जेल में रख दो. और वही बात है. तो it's very, very important that we do away with it at the right time. Of course, it's great to have it, and in today's time one needs to. But that's why I believe it's called a cell phone.
Right. In fact, we have a couple of more questions. I think my colleague Sakshi wanted to ask a question. Sakshi, you wanted to ask a question of Mr. Shetty. If we can have a mic passed on to...
Save your questions for Ekta.
Oh, okay, just 1 sec.
Ekta's here. She's got a lot of answering to do.
Just 2 more questions and then we'll come to you.
Very quickly, Sunilji.
Sir, go ahead.
This is here. Hi, Sunilji.
Hi.
This is Nimish, chartered accountant, and I'm sure that all the audience sitting over here is going to cherish for lifelong this conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just would like to understand your perspective from the mentor perspective, that in a life everyone needs a mentor, or we always call it someone, or we follow someone.
So we call them, in Bharat, we call them Guru.
Guru, yes. So I just would like to understand from you that who is your Guru and whom you are following till today, and which way you manage to get through that wisdom and connect and to get the right Guru.
So my Guru has always been my father. At the age of 9, he came, he was cleaning tables. Like I always say, and I always say this, he always used to tell me it took me 4 rounds to clear a table, rectangle or a square or round, because my hands won't reach. So anything and everything I do, I connect to him. Ki 9 saal ke umar mein yaar, he was working. If Ahan had to work at 9, as a father, would I be able to see it? You know, and I always believe that you need to believe in someone. And it could be, today's time, it doesn't have to be a guru or a mentor. It could be somebody that is exciting enough here whom I follow and learn. But we've got to drop that ego and believe that we are going to follow. Because for me, a guru is like a dark highway. A dark highway, no lights. Highways have no lights anyway, sorry. And you've got a car. You switch on the lights and you know that I can see 200 meters ahead. And it's dark after that, so I don't know what the road is. But as and when you follow that light, it eventually takes you to that destination. And your guru will eventually take you to your destination. It may be someone you believe in, maybe Guru Ma that you believe in. It could be a religious belief and what they say. So those are the little things for me. For me, Rahul is my guru today. You know, the way he plays, the way he loves his country, the way he takes the highs and lows. My son, after a successful first film, 3 years, no film. You know, I see that kid at home and say, what happened? I mean, we know what happened. But he says, Dad, don't worry, I'll come back, I'll bounce back. It's a tough world out there. You know, now he's doing films. But there was a period. So for me, they are my gurus now. I learn from them. You know, and I think that's the way we have to look at it.
Can I just add to that? I'll just add to that. My own perspective. I think, I believe that everybody needs a mentor. May not be living your life, but if you want to pursue a career, you want to excel somewhere, everybody needs a mentor. And I would just borrow what Anna just said, that at times the mentor is like what Dronacharya was to Ekalavya. So he had Dronacharya in his mind and he's got inspired by him. He took all his learnings, but there are not many Ekalavyas in this world. So I think if you are looking at excelling in your career, a guru is like a coach on the cricket field. It can always accelerate your quest for excellence.
I think with that, let's bid adieu to this fabulous conversation we've just had on stage. I think it's been an absolute pleasure listening to both the gentlemen.
No, and the other way we spoke about entrepreneurship and movies and production. Yeah, I need to mention this. Never got the opportunity, but here Ekta is here, right in front of me. She's up here next. The one person who encouraged me to produce was her father. Blindly. We failed them. Whatever reasons, we put great films together, they didn't work, whatever happened. I mean, I'm to blame. but blindly. Faith is when I used to call Jeetuji up and say, Jeetuji, we are doing this and this is the amount of money that is required. Before I could even complete, the money would hit the bank and the faith of the subject would be there.
Wow.
So I
What a
must
story.
mention, I've never said this to her. We've never spoken after that. There were the differences. But there's always a stage in life and a stage where somebody else comes there. And that's something I've always appreciated. I've always been indebted to. And it's such a big learning in my life from a production perspective. It's not funny. Like I said, so many things come, so many people in between that the path goes elsewhere, but you've got to take the blame because that was the relationship. So my entrepreneurship journey with cinema started because of Ekta and her father and mom. So I owe that entrepreneur side of it in the entertainment space to them.
That's wonderful. I'm
I
sure
should end
Ekta
it
would
there.
like to respond. Can we have a mic for Ekta as well? I'm sure she would want to respond to that. Sakshi, if you can have the mic over.
Yeah. Come on.
Sir, you didn't fail. Maybe I was not able to, or Dad was not able to show you the light up ahead. Sorry, sir. We failed as gurus or mentors. But you are an entrepreneur worth. We all should join our hands and clap for this man.
Come,
Ladies and
Ekta,
gentlemen, what a memorable moment.
you can join
here.
me handing it over to Anna.
And may I also request Ambassador Sanjay Sudhir to
Ambassador.
kindly come on stage, sir, and do the honors.
So you take it from the first.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what the News9 Global Summit is all about. It's really about these memorable
Thank you.
moments and
Thank
these
you very much.
confessions that
Anna.
make our summits so memorable. You have it right here on stage. And what a fascinating shot that is. Ekta Kapoor, Sunil Shetty, Mr. Barundas, and Ambassador Sanjay Sudhir. And that's the moment to behold, ladies and gentlemen.
Will come. Yes, will be on time. And any.
Ladies and gentlemen, a great, big, huge round of applause for
Why did you
Mr.
hold it?
Sunil Shetty.